What Does It Mean to Be Human? By Colum. I've always been a very inquisitive and opinionated kid. In fact, my parents and I have an inside joke that when I'm older, I'm going to write an op-ed newspaper column called Colum's Column, where I'll express some of my strongest opinions. And I believe that this fictitious publication of a Colum's Column exemplifies my belief on what makes a human a human. I believe that on the surface level, to be human simply means being a member of the Homo sapiens, or Latin for wise men, so simply just being of a different species is what makes us human. But on a deeper level, I've come to the understanding that what distinguishes humans from other animals is our ability to question and reflect upon our lives, a questioning of life that would certainly be in Colum's Column. So, although humans and animals still are inextricably connected via instinctual motivations such as fear, hunger, thirst, and a desire for community and shelter, the more advanced mental capabilities of humans are what make us so unique. This high mental capacity is what enables us to think critically and question our surroundings, something I have been actively taking part of since my childhood. So, in short, to be human is to question and reflect. And throughout my life, in grade school, to being a freshman at Ignatius, to being a member of AP English, I have formulated this opinion. As the youngest of 5 children, I was constantly watching my older siblings and both emulating and questioning their life choices. For example, as a kid, I remember watching my brother Sean playing the computer game Civilization and what I can now see as annoyingly asking him why he chose a certain move in the game. And at St. Mary of the Ward's Grammar School, I was the one kid who was always asking a ton of questions in Mrs. Weber's history class, and wondering why the heck Robert E. Lee failed so drastically at the Battle of Gettysburg. After grade school, my eagerness to question and think critically expanded beyond the classroom and into my extracurricular activities. Within the walls of St. Ignatius College Prep, I joined the Harlequins and lacrosse programs freshman year. And as a freshman, I noticed how polarized the social scenes were for both groups, and I asked myself, why? I wondered, is it because people who play lax or act in the Harlequins live so far apart and that's why they aren't friends? Or is it because people in either group don't like the members of the other group due to any number of factors, maybe because of their interests, values, or just their general way of life? All in all, my diverse experience in the sporting and artistic extracurriculars at Ignatius was and continues to be a platform for my opinions and thoughts that are just always going on in my head. It's made me reflect on the insecurities of high schoolers, our desperate longing to be liked, and our apparent inclination towards clickiness, especially at Ignatius. Finally, my experience in AP Literature with Miss Doherty has contributed to the formation of my conclusion on the essential characteristics of humanness, or our predisposition to question. The favorite novel I read in the class was Candide, a social satire written by the French philosopher Voltaire. The novel follows a young man, Candide, who lives a sheltered life in an Edenic paradise and is indoctrinated with boundless optimism by his mentor, Professor Pangloss. The book describes the abrupt termination of this lifestyle, followed by the protagonist Candide's slow, painful disillusionment as he witnesses and experiences great hardships in the world. Voltaire concludes with the protagonist, if not just rejecting optimism outright, actually advocating for a deeply practical maxim that, quote, we must cultivate our garden, totally rejecting the ignorant philosophical mantra of his teacher Pangloss that, quote, all is for the best in the, quote, best of all possible worlds. Now, Candide really fascinated me. The discussions we had in class made me question the utility of blind optimism, and thanks to the discussion, I literally stayed up at night reflecting upon the concepts of optimism, ignorance, and bliss, and I actually ended up sending the book Candide itself. I shipped it to my grandpa and told him that he should read it, which he eventually did, and then we engaged in a discussion about it. Candide's rebuke of optimism made me reflect upon the figure of Santa Claus and how I wish that I still believed in Santa Claus because Christmas was so much more magical when I believed that a fat old white man came down the chimney on Christmas Eve and gave me presents. And now Christmas is not as magical, so I questioned what is better, to blindly believe that Santa is real as a first grader, or to know the truth as a high schooler but lose out on some of the magic of Christmas. I came to the conclusion that ignorance is not bliss, because one who ignorantly is happy is not truly happy. One who knows truths, such as those of the myth of Santa Claus, can come to a deeper understanding of happiness. So, to conclude, Colum believes that the answer to the question, what does it mean to be human, actually lies in the question itself. The very fact that the question is a question reveals what is imperative about our humanity, that we are called to reflect upon our lives and creatively question our existence. To be human is to question and reflect.